We work with a lot of young people, a lot of LGBTQ, queer, trans folks, students who are doing GSAs, and some of them are the only ones in their schools leading movements, creating space. What would be your advice to young people coming up who are becoming trailblazers in their neighborhoods and their communities?
Stay strong. Yeah, just keep doing it because you never know who you're affecting as well. Because maybe people at their school are not as supportive as they would like it to be, but then an article might come out and someone in another school will start the club and be as strong as that person because they hear about that. You never know who you're affecting, so just like stay strong. There's someone out there that's in your shoes, and whether you realize it or not, you are inspiring to someone, and you're gonna light that fire under someone else and start something big.
What would be one bit of advice or one thing you would share with your younger self? So think about Shamir at age 13. What is one bit of advice or something you would tell 13-year-old Shamir?
I would tell 13-year-old Shamir that you're not a boy, so chill. At least not a boy by the world's standards. You know, I felt like because, you know, I've always had like a very high-pitched voice and softer features and everything, and it will frustrate me because I would like really try to butch it up as much as I possibly can and like still, you know, get called she or like the opposite sex and like everything, and it was before I even, for most people, had a real understanding of like what non-binary meant, and I even still to this day I think it's kind of like something that I still struggle with but acknowledge, in the sense that it's just like, you know, even though I'm, you know, someone who's assigned male at birth, I always just kind of had like a slight disconnect with every single one of my male friends, like every single one, you know.
So you're on an amazing show. Pose, everyone is talking about it. You can't be on any social media platform. There are folks who are now saying the category is who were not saying that a month ago.
Right.
So what is it like to be on this amazing show?
It's amazing to be able to speak for your community in a way, and it's also great to speak for a specific part of the community that has been ostracized for a long time. Even though the LGBT community has been out there when it comes to pride and everything, sometimes I feel like some of them get lost in the mix, and the T was one of them that got lost in the mix. And a lot of people forgot that African American women, Latina women of color who are of the trans experience, they forget that we were the women who kind of cultivated the ballroom culture in order for a lot of drag queens to be drag queens and a lot of gay men to live out their, you know, their fantasy as far as being feminine and being comfortable in it. We were the women to cultivate that. Sylvia Rivera, Martha B. Johnson, the list goes on. And it's shows like this that gives you a glimpse into the founding mothers and how the founding fathers came along and how they created these children in order for us to be here today.
Why is storytelling important for elevating and amplifying queer youth?
The reason why storytelling is important to me because it's, for me, I became very broad, I became very macro with it, and I felt like it was very much needed to show all of social media and all of the world that HIV does not have this ideal look to it. And by showcasing myself, they can say like, oh wow, like you look completely normal. There's no, there's not that look that was back in like the late 70s and early 80s. So I feel like that's very important to me to like showcase myself and to show people like this is what I look like having HIV, especially as a queer Latino young man who is only 25 years old and only having it for 5 years. I also believe it's very important to showcase on social media and to people because I think there is this still level of stigma that is attached to HIV. And people don't know how to grasp that idea when they hear HIV. You know, something I've learned that my mother told me, like people don't leave the block. So people only know what they know on their own block, what they grew up on the block. So they don't know what's around the corner, and it's always that sense of scare, that sense of nervousness.
Y'all are busting the door open for other folks to come in. That can be exhausting to be the only one. How do you take care of yourself? Because you're celebrated, but behind that takes a lot of work, that takes a lot of emotional work. So what do y'all do to take care of yourselves?
Much better. So for self-care, I make sure that I take a day or two to myself in between work, and if I can't take a whole day or two, I'll definitely take some hours a couple hours where I can just be alone. Either listen to music or complete silence. I meditate. So I try to speak a lot of positive thoughts. I try to let go of any negative things that I'm going through or thinking about, and tell myself that, you know, I'm really, first off, I'm super thankful to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy to be able to be doing this for a living,
Right.
to have this platform to help other people. I also try to think in abundance. A lot of people try to kind of withhold whatever it is that they have because they're afraid that if someone else gets a hold of it, then they'll lose it. Mm-hmm. Instead, I want to open the doors for other people like myself to come up if they're interested in being in entertainment anyway. If they look at me as a source of like inspiration or anything, I'm like, yeah, look, I'm a regular person. You can do this shit too.
Right.
You know? Can I say shit?
You can do this bleep too.
I wanted to do this while you were talking. Yes.
And this is also the success of all other LGBT people in the world. We're rooting for you. We're rooting for you. You know, rooting for everybody Black, LGBT, and Ariana Grande.
Well, this is cute.